Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that took Hollywood by surprise. The unexpected discovery inside the mansion of legendary actor Robert Redford. After spending years living quietly away from the spotlight, his home suddenly became the talk of the town when hidden secrets were uncovered. What's behind those doors will leave you speechless. Let's jump right in. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Have you ever been a fan of Robert Redford or watched any of his classic films? If yes, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Let's see how many of us still remember this legendary icon of cinema. Enjoy the video and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to support the channel. I've got plenty more fascinating and unexpected stories coming your way. Just hours ago, the world said goodbye to Robert Redford, the legendary actor, director, and founder of Sundance, who passed away peacefully at his cherished home in Utah at the age of 89. Tributes from Hollywood and around the world have been pouring in, honoring a man who helped shape American cinema for over half a century. But as the day went on, attention began to shift toward the legacy he left behind. What insiders are now revealing about Redford's private estate and hidden treasures is truly remarkable. Robert Redford's Utah residence, the Sundance estate, was far more than just a home. Tucked away in the Wasatch Mountains, surrounded by tall pines and crystal-clear streams, it was a sanctuary where Redford lived, created, and cherished his privacy for decades. To him, Sundance wasn't simply a place to stay. It embodied his artistic vision and personal philosophy. Now, in the wake of his passing, those closest to him are beginning to uncover the true depth of the legacy he left behind. Inside the rustic yet beautifully designed home, an extraordinary collection of cultural treasures was uncovered. For more than half a century, Redford had quietly gathered rare Native American artifacts, from hand-woven rugs and intricate pottery to finely detailed carvings, all carefully preserved and never shown to the public. Experts now believe this may be one of the most significant private collections of its kind in the United States. The discovery immediately drew the attention of historians and cultural officials, who began working to document and safeguard this remarkable heritage. But it's not just the art that makes this place so meaningful. The land itself tells Redford's story. He purchased and began protecting it back in the 1960s, long before it gained international fame through the Sundance Film Festival. Rather than turning it into a commercial development, he made the deliberate choice to preserve its untouched beauty. Vast stretches of the landscape remain just as they were decades ago, standing as a powerful reflection of his lifelong belief in living close to nature and honoring the environment. Today, the Sundance grounds stand as more than just a tribute to a Hollywood legend. They've become a living museum, telling the story of Robert Redford's passion, creativity, and enduring love for nature. The artifacts found there speak volumes about the man himself, humble, reflective, and deeply respectful of native culture. Though he may be gone, his spirit continues to inspire future generations. And now, more than ever, these grounds remain the beating heart of his extraordinary vision. Documents discovered on the property reveal that even after his passing, Redford had arranged for the land to remain safeguarded under conservation trusts. To him, it was never just real estate. It was a vision of harmony between nature and art, preserved for generations to come. For many, this was the first glimpse into the true essence of his estate. Not merely a display of wealth, but a lasting testament to his devotion to culture, history, and the environment. All of it resting quietly in the mountains where Robert Redford made his final stand. real estate holdings, and hidden properties. While Robert Redford is best known for his mountain retreat in Utah, his influence reached far beyond Sundance. After his passing, as legal teams and family members began reviewing his estate, they uncovered the true scale and careful management of his real estate empire. Throughout the years, Redford quietly bought and sold properties that reflected his refined taste and guiding principles. In California's Napa Valley, for example, he owned a sprawling estate in the heart of wine country called Danza del Sol, which he later sold for nearly $7 million to... In Tiburon, California, Robert Redford once purchased a beachfront property for around $3.1 million, an almost symbolic price, and sold it just a few years later for over $4.6 million. But the deal was more than a simple real estate move. It reflected his sharp business instincts and long-term vision. In a Hollywood world often defined by flash and spectacle, Redford stood apart, valuing purpose and preservation over profit. It was a side of him few truly knew, the thoughtful investor, not just the artist. And his Utah holdings reveal an even deeper layer of that story. Beyond the well-known Sundance complex, Robert Redford also owned several other properties in Utah, places known only to his closest friends and associates. Some of these lands were placed under conservation easements, ensuring they could never be developed or commercially exploited. Others were held in trust, with proceeds dedicated to supporting environmental and cultural causes. Redford never acquired land for prestige or speculation. Instead, he viewed ownership as a means of preservation. For him, it was about safeguarding the spirit and lasting value of the land, using ownership not for control, but for protection. After his passing, Redford's intricate real estate portfolio presented significant challenges for his family and estate executors. Lawyers had to navigate a complex web of assets, from private lands and conservation funds to charitable endowments, making the division of his estate far more demanding than anyone anticipated. Yet that very complexity reflected Redford's thoughtful vision for how his wealth should be used. He wanted his assets to keep making a positive difference in the world, aligned with the values he cherished. Now here's a question for you. Do you think celebrities like Robert Redford should keep their private lives private? Or does the public have a right to know what happens behind the scenes? If you support privacy, comment 2. If you think the public should know more, comment 5. And don't forget to like, share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. There are plenty more fascinating stories ahead. For Robert Redford, real estate was never just about owning land. It was an extension of his philosophy and lifelong vision. He viewed it as a bridge between art, nature, and social responsibility. His thoughtful approach to acquiring and preserving property reflected a deep understanding of balance and purpose, giving his legacy a richness that goes far beyond Hollywood fame. In the end, Redford was more than an artist. He was a true guardian of nature and culture. Exploring the estate plans, Robert Redford Left Behind offers a deeper look into his character and vision. In his will, he passed on not only artistic achievements, but also carefully protected stretches of land. His legacy weaves together nature and art, honoring the past while shaping the future. Redford's thoughtful planning ensured that the values he lived by would endure, a lasting reflection of his creativity, foresight, and timeless sense of responsibility. Ultimately, Robert Redford's real estate legacy stands as a powerful testament to the vision of an artist who used his success to preserve lasting values and shape a better future for generations to come. It's not merely a story of ownership or investment, but a reflection of passion, purpose, and responsibility. Through every decision, Redford showed a deep respect for longevity and meaning. qualities that continue to define his enduring and inspiring legacy. Alongside his real estate legacy, a key part of Robert Redford's Sundance vision was his lifestyle brand, the Sundance catalog. First launched in the late 1980s, it began as a small brochure showcasing handcrafted goods that reflected the soul of the Utah mountains. Over the years, it evolved into a beloved national brand, known for its quality, artistry, and authenticity. For Redford, it was never just a business. It was a natural extension of his creative spirit and his deep connection to art and nature. However, that bright chapter began to dim in the final months of his life. In July 2025, just weeks before his passing, the Sundance catalog, along with its retail division, Sundance Living, announced the closure of all 16 stores across the United States. The decision was reportedly driven by financial strain, influenced by shifting market trends, rising operational costs, and perhaps Redford's gradual step back from active leadership. The closure sparked questions about the long-term sustainability of the brand and the business legacy he left behind. Yet for those who truly knew him, it was simply another part of Redford's journey, a reminder that even visionaries face challenges, and that his true legacy lives on in his art, his activism, and his deep care for the land. Financial documents released after Robert Redford's passing have shed light on a lesser-known, more difficult side of his business legacy. Several independent artisans who had long collaborated with the Sundance catalog have spoken out, claiming they are still owed tens of thousands of dollars. These unpaid debts have left many struggling and have caused disappointment within a creative community once built on trust, collaboration, and the values Redford championed. The transfer of the company's remaining assets to Corbin Liquidation LLC, a bankruptcy and restructuring firm, underscored just how serious the financial crisis had become. Corbin Liquidation acted swiftly, selling off the Sundance catalog's remaining inventory in an effort to generate funds and repay creditors. Although Robert Redford had stepped back from directly managing the company in his later years, his name and legacy remained deeply connected to it. The brand's collapse not only damaged its reputation, but also sparked debate over Redford's level of oversight in the ventures that carried his name. Once celebrated as a symbol of taste, craftsmanship, and authenticity, the Sundance catalog now faced a sobering financial downfall. Attorneys handling Robert Redford's estate are now working to untangle the connection between his personal assets and the financial obligations tied to the Sundance catalog. Records reveal that Redford maintained a close financial relationship with the company, particularly regarding unresolved debts and liabilities. This overlap could mean that some of the brand's outstanding obligations may directly affect the value of the inheritance designated for his family and charitable foundations. While Redford built a celebrated cultural brand, the millions of dollars in accumulated debt have added a new layer of complexity to the process of settling and distributing his estate. What was once celebrated as a business triumph has now become a defining piece of Robert Redford's larger legacy, one that shines with brilliance yet contains its share of challenges and hard truths. It reflects the complexity of a man who lived many lives: artist, visionary, entrepreneur, and human being. The downfall of the Sundance catalog is more than just the story of a failed brand. It serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between fame, responsibility, and financial stewardship. In the years ahead, Redford's estate will continue to be studied as a case of how even the most admired legacies can carry both light and shadow. For fans, the revelation is bittersweet. The Sundance catalog once embodied Redford's dream of sharing art, craftsmanship, and authenticity with everyday people. Now, its closure, along with the debts it left behind, has cast a somber shadow over that vision. Yet for those studying his estate, it serves as a poignant reminder that even icons leave behind unfinished chapters, and that the balance between art, business, and legacy can be as delicate and uncertain as any Hollywood journey. As Robert Redford's family and legal team began going through his estate, they uncovered a few surprising discoveries. The most remarkable finds weren't hidden in bank accounts or legal papers. They were inside his Sundance home. For decades, Redford had been a quiet yet devoted collector of Native American art and artifacts. His home was filled with hand-woven rugs, antique pottery, sculptures, and other indigenous works of art. What made the discovery even more extraordinary was that many of these pieces had never been documented or shown to the public. Art experts were soon brought in to evaluate the scope and significance of the collection, and they quickly determined that it ranked among the most important private holdings of Native American art in the United States. The pieces carried not only great material worth, but also revealed Redford's deep appreciation and respect for indigenous culture and history. Yet, the art was only the first revelation. As the team continued their search, they uncovered something even more extraordinary: a hidden archive locked away from public view. In a secured section of the home, archivists uncovered a vast personal library. Inside were hundreds of boxes filled with letters, journals, notes, and manuscripts documenting Redford's remarkable 70-year career. Among them were personal correspondences with legendary figures like Paul Newman, Jane Fonda, and Sidney Pollack. These letters were more than sentimental keepsakes. They offered a rare historical window into the relationships that shaped 20th century cinema. Alongside them, handwritten notes revealed Redford's private reflections on politics, environmental causes, and personal challenges that few ever knew about. These discoveries have revealed a completely different side of Robert Redford, not just the celebrated movie star, but a deeply thoughtful and introspective individual. Within the library were also several unfinished manuscripts, including partial scripts, film concepts, story outlines, and creative notes. They serve as proof that Redford's passion for storytelling never faded, even after he publicly stepped away from acting and directing. Whether these incomplete works will ever be released remains uncertain, but their existence has already sparked great interest and excitement among filmmakers and historians alike. For archivists and historians, the Sundance Archive represents far more than a personal collection. It stands as a cultural record, a living reflection of the passions, ideals, and relationships that defined Robert Redford's life. Each diary entry and every letter adds new layers of understanding to the portrait of this enduring cultural icon. The process of cataloging, digitizing, and preserving the vast archive is expected to take years, ensuring that Redford's creative legacy will be studied and appreciated for generations to come. Ultimately, the discoveries at Sundance have transformed the way the world views Robert Redford. He was not just a Hollywood legend, but also a devoted curator, a reflective thinker, and a guardian of memory with an uncommon sense of care. His legacy extends far beyond his acclaimed films and lifelong activism. It lives as well in his quiet dedication to preserving and honoring culture. Now, the treasures he safeguarded in silence are finally beginning to tell their story. If Robert Redford's estate reveals anything beyond art and real estate, it's the profound reach and consistency of his philanthropy. For decades, he was celebrated not only as an actor and filmmaker, but also as a passionate advocate for the environment, indigenous rights, and independent film. Yet, what has come to light since his passing shows that his generosity ran much deeper than his public advocacy. Tucked away in trust documents, personal letters and handwritten notes were detailed financial plans and strategic directives, all designed to ensure that his causes would continue to thrive, quietly, but with lasting purpose. A significant portion of Robert Redford's wealth was directed to the Sundance Institute, the nonprofit he founded in 1981 to champion independent filmmakers. To Redford, cinema was always more than entertainment. It was a powerful medium for giving voice to untold stories. Yet few people realize that his generosity reached far beyond Sundance. Behind the scenes, he quietly supported numerous other efforts, including the American West Nature Conservancy, scholarships for emerging Native American artists, and a range of community-based cultural programs. True to his character, Redford preferred to give through trusted organizations, allowing the work, not his name, to shine in the spotlight. It was only after his passing that the full scope of Robert Redford's philanthropic network came into focus. These revelations revealed a more intimate side of him. A man who didn't just support causes in words, but wove them into the very fabric of his life and financial choices. Unlike many public figures who build visible charitable brands, Redford chose a quieter path, allowing his impact to unfold naturally over time. What has emerged since his death isn't just a record of donations or endowments, but powerful proof that he planned carefully to ensure the values he cherished would continue to thrive long after the spotlight had dimmed.